If you tend to ramble, stop. Instead, you need to think fast and talk smart. To do this, I've relied on many invaluable speaking frameworks, and here are my 3 favorites to sound polished while being put on the spot. Now, in order for any of these frameworks to work successfully, you need to have a desired outcome for your communication, and there are 3 possible outcomes you could have. The first is informational. What do you want the other party to know? The second is emotional. How do you want the other party to feel? And the third is actionable. What do you want the other party to do by the end of your communication? The first framework is the what, so what, now what framework. What means in 2 lines or less, what is the issue at hand that you want to discuss? So what is, why does your issue matter to your audience? And now what is, now that I've told you why the issue matters, what should the audience do or feel afterwards? I like using this framework when giving updates to a manager or an executive team. Watch how CEO of AMD, Lisa Su, uses this framework right here.
Who are your customers for that particular chip?
We work with all of the largest cloud manufacturers as well as many of the largest enterprise guys. And so, the key is let's get these products to market as fast as possible. We're actually very differentiated, Christina. So when you think about what you need on this, not only do you need a lot of computing, but you also need a lot of memory and a lot of memory bandwidth. And that's what MI300X does. It actually brings best-in-class inference of large language models, and everybody wants more GPUs.
Here's another example you could use in a work setting. Let's say you wanted to give your executive team an update on the progress of a particular partnership. Here's what you could say. We're on track to ship all of our integrations that we discussed with partner X. We've set up a workshop with the partner to discuss integration X. We've committed resources to building integration Y next quarter. As a result, partner X is really excited about us and wants to be first to market with us. Dave, I'd love you to follow up over email with their VP of product. Would you be okay with that? Framework 2 is called PREP, or point, reason, example, point. Point is another way of saying, what is a single sentence summary of your bottom line answer? Reason is, what's the rationale behind why you've given that point as your answer? Example is either a data point or a story that backs up your original point. And the final point is a summary of your original point and a transition to what the audience should do or feel next. This framework is particularly useful because it appeals to a broader audience. It appeals to those who are more rational when you give a reason behind your point, and it appeals to the more emotional crowd based off the example you would give to support your point. Watch how NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang handles a difficult question about the potential dangers of AI.
The industry is spending the necessary and the appropriate amount of time to talk about the peril. There's plenty of technology that we're creating to enable new capabilities for generative AI. But we have to put equal, if not more, emphasis into developing technology for safe AI. All of the technologies associated with guardrailing, human feedback reinforcement learning, vector databases that are connected to these large language models so that they don't hallucinate. All of those technologies and more are created for this very reason. The amount of technology that's advancing in this space is just literally daily, and I'm so excited to see computer scientists dedicate themselves to the advancing of safe AI as well as, of course, generative AI.
You'll see executives use this framework all the time, whether it's answering tough questions or easy ones. Watch how Smartsheet CEO Mark Mader explains what contributed to their growth.
We really focus on getting back to the basics. And when you speak with customers about how we can help drive revenue for them or achieve cost savings, they're really interested in listening. I mean, one great example of this last quarter was a large appliance manufacturer is trying to get their product to market more quickly. How can we deliver the same number of campaigns we used to with less cost, with greater accuracy? And when you have a customer who's able to take a cycle that's typically 16 weeks, knock it down to 4 weeks, eliminate agency costs where it falls right to the bottom line, those are the types of stories people respond to today. And that's one of many stories like that we had last quarter.
And the third and final framework is TOP-T, or topic, orient, point, transition. This framework is perfect when you're presenting a slide filled with data. Your first sentence should address the topic you like to discuss with this slide. Your next few sentences should orient your audience to what they're seeing on the page. It could be walking through what's on the X or the Y axis. Point represents the key takeaway that your audience should have from looking at the graph. And transition is a sentence or two that easily segues your audience to the next slide. Now, I want you to watch how Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella uses this framework, but takes a slight twist during his keynote speech.
Now, of course, it's going to create a massive platform opportunity, and we've seen this before. If you think about it, in my 30+ years at Microsoft, I've lived through these 3 transformations. And each one of them, whether it's the PC server, the web internet, mobile cloud, have been massive in terms of creating partner innovation, partner opportunity, the composition of our partner ecosystem. Now the question is, what happens next?
Satya is orienting his audience to the graph through a story. Instead of saying, as you can see from the y-axis being trillions of dollars saved and the x-axis representing years over time, he says, over my 30+ year career, which represents the x-axis, I've seen 3 massive transformations in technology, which can be seen by the 3 different humps on that line chart. This is a subtle way of orienting your audience to a graph while also making it feel personal. If you found these frameworks helpful, I encourage you to subscribe to my newsletter. I'll drop a link below this video. That way you'll get more frameworks and tips to sound more confident and polished whenever you're speaking at work. Now, effective communication is not just about what you say, but also how you say it. And to sound more clear and articulate, here are my 3 favorite exercises that you should try on a daily basis.